over the last few years, the Goa government has been claiming that I'm not an Indian national and am a Portuguese national. The matter was pending before the Honorable High Court for over 2 years, and in February this year, the Honorable High Court had decided to direct the central government to hear me on the issue and decide all the issues together. So as there was no news from the central government, I decided to go to Lisbon and check for myself the ground reality. So after speaking to the Portuguese government officials in Lisbon, they said that my birth was registered, but they couldn't tell me who had registered my birth. Now the only possibility is that before their death, my parents had registered my birth there. So now to resolve this issue once and for all and lay this issue to rest, I decided to go to Lisbon. And when the Portuguese authorities told me that I am entitled to a Portuguese passport, I thought over it for a day, and then I decided to opt for the Portuguese passport and surrender my Indian passport in accordance with law. So accordingly, I acquired the Portuguese passport last month when I went to Lisbon, and on my return, I immediately surrendered my Indian passport and I surrendered my election card too, as required by law. Now I decided that it is better to lay this issue for rest once and for all. And the two disadvantages, as far as I am concerned, on acquiring the Portuguese passport was that I wouldn't be entitled to be a voter in Goa, and of course I wouldn't be entitled to contest the election. And the other issue is that I wouldn't be able to acquire any agricultural land. So all these three issues in the current scenario are inconsequential. So I decided to acquire a Portuguese passport and surrender my Indian passport, which I have done immediately after arrival from Lisbon back in Goa. The first thing I did was to surrender my election card and to also surrender my passport. Because as an OCI, nothing would change for me as far as my professional life is concerned. In fact, I'm happy that now with a Portuguese passport, I would be freely able to travel to over 185 countries without a visa. So that gives me that freedom of being able to travel and lay this issue once for all. I was very surprised when I was discussing my issue with the Portuguese authorities. They told me that various Goan politicians, present and past, are all Portuguese nationals registered in Lisbon and with a Portuguese passport. Besides that, some very influential persons, including some government officials, according to them, also hold a Portuguese passport. So I was intrigued that given all this as to why the government singled me out to target me that I was a Portuguese national. So I had never applied for Portuguese nationality. I have said this on oath at the Honorable High Court. And I'm happy now that this issue is laid to rest. I have acquired my Portuguese nationality, my Portuguese passport, and surrendered my Indian one in accordance with law.